members, friends, it is my honor to speak before you tonight on this very special occasion. I've thought for many weeks about what I can say to you this evening, and I would really like to address the graduates. So I'm going to turn just a little bit so you guys can see me better. Parents, family, and friends are a foundation, but tonight is not about foundations. It is about beginnings, your beginning. When I first received your invitation to speak at this, such an important night, as flattered as I was, I could not help but think that I was an interesting choice. What were you thinking? When I think of commencement speakers, I usually think of someone who has been there. They have done it, experienced it, accomplished it, finished it, closed the door. When I think of a great graduation speaker, I usually think of someone standing before you, ready to impart the advice of someone who is looking back at a life well lived, sifting for grains of wisdom to share. It has been 14 years since I sat in your chairs, and while 14 years may seem like forever to you, 31 years old may seem ancient, and definitely at first glance, you may feel you have very little in common with an 8-month pregnant woman. We have one very important similarity. You and I are both looking forward. Looking forward because, like you, most of what I want for my life, most of what I want to accomplish is still in front of me. I speak to you as one of you, just with a small head start. The advice I have to give is still valuable, because all experience is. But it's not the end-all, be-all. Rather, I think the things I'm about to tell you are things that you can use tonight, tomorrow, next week. The end-all is something you will have to write yourself. Looking forward with you, there are simply 3 things that I want each of you to know about your future tonight. They are simply, I am prepared, I need to get off here, and I'm going to get up. So again, I'm prepared, I need to get off here, and I'm going to get up. First, I am prepared. When you're thinking about your whole life in front of you and the whole world in which to live it, Red Creek can sometimes seem like a small place to start. But I would like to remind you that small has nothing to do with impact. Impact is about force. It's about the velocity with which you go after something. Scientists believe that a meteor, only 6 miles in size, can impact our 7,900-mile diameter Earth if it comes at it hard enough, so that its climate, atmosphere, and life are forever changed. It has been my experience that in life, people are no different. Any one of us can change it all if we come at it hard enough. After graduating from Red Creek, as Mr. Schultz mentioned, I was accepted at Cornell University, a school that usually ranks in the top 15 in the country. And though I always felt I had received a great education at Red Creek, I admit I was a bit apprehensive about how I would do at Cornell. The students I met in my first week often came from huge high schools. They had taken advanced placement classes, I didn't even know what those were, and many had college credits already. Some came from prep schools with famous alumni, some had already studied abroad, and some even knew what they wanted to do for grad school while I was trying to figure out what to take the first semester. And there were 20,000 of them, 5,000 in my class alone, compared to 54 in my Red Creek graduating class. College was certainly my first test outside of where I grew up, and it felt like it would be very hard to make an impact. Though I didn't know it at first, I was prepared. Not smart, not lucky, but prepared. Over that first year, I watched as prep school students and those who already had college credit struggle harder than I did to study for a test or write a paper. I watched as those that knew exactly what they wanted to do sometimes lost their way and became distracted. It turned out that my education from Red Creek rivaled that of the very best that Cornell admitted. Among this ambitious and competitive peer group, I went on to graduate with highest honors, summa cum laude. Because Cornell is usually a top 15 school, I would say this proves that my education from Red Creek rivals the very best to be had anywhere, which means your education rivals the very best to be had anywhere. You have already accomplished this. It is already your tool to use. The teachers and administrators here, while you may not always have been able to appreciate it, have been giving you a great gift, even if it was wrapped in tests and homework and group projects. Red Creek has given you the gift of impact, the gift of being able to come at anything with velocity. Whatever doubts you may have about your own path, put them to rest. Whether you are committing yourself to another 4 years of education, the military, a job position within our own community, a 2-year degree, law enforcement, opening your own business, or building a family, you are prepared. You are ready. There is no doubt in my mind that if you come at it hard enough, whatever it may be, each of you will change the climate, atmosphere, and lives of those around you. Which leads me to the second thing that you should know about your future, and that is, I need to get off here. What does that mean exactly? As I look forward with you, I believe it means taking an active part in what happens next. Life will throw surprises at you, it's inevitable. Or just as likely, sometimes life doesn't throw anything at you. Sometimes that can be even worse. It lets you sit. Whether you are reacting or starting your reaction, make active choices. Move. Get off when one thing ends and something else begins. Yes, over the next few weeks, you will enjoy graduation parties and one last high school summer. But then it will be time to get off. And I challenge you never to wait for the next step. To not find yourself looking around in September, wondering where everyone else went or why you ended up where you did. We've already covered it, you are prepared, and this is high school's last stop. It is time to move on and begin another chapter in your story. Get off here, get right on the next thing that is going to take you somewhere. Even if the place you are going is 2 miles down the road or 2,000 miles away. It's about staying in motion, living a deliberate life, and taking responsibility for where you end up. I'll be the first to admit, on paper or in speech introductions, my path might look a bit easy to you. I graduated, went to Cornell, and became an author. At first glance, it looks as though I did not face too many obstacles. But you can't tell a book by its cover, as they say. You can't tell a person by what's on paper or how nicely they're introduced. After my college graduation, though I had an Ivy League degree, for which my parents paid dearly, I came out with debt, both student loans and credit card debt. And I came out with an English degree. No offense to those who are coming out with English degrees. I wanted to be a writer, not exactly practical. Becoming a fiction author is not something that you apply for that pays you right away. No one recruits authors. In fact, if you look, everyone joked that I was going to work in a coffee shop when I first graduated. And if you look at the 1998 Red Creek yearbook, I was voted most likely to be found in a coffee shop. So joking about coffee shops for me was nothing new. 2002 was not a great year to graduate college, just as 2012 is not a great year to graduate high school. I grabbed my diploma and I came home, much like you're going to do tonight. I could have gone and worked at that coffee shop. I could have waited for my parents to tell me what to do or to charge me rent. I could have wished for more career guidance, defaulted on my loans, shook my fist at the economy, or found a financial district to occupy. But I made the choice, the scary choice, to get off and find my next step. For me, that meant dressing up in a suit each day for about 2 months, not something I ever envisioned as an English major, and visiting businesses in Rochester and Syracuse in pursuit of a job in public relations. It's much easier to ignore an online resume than it is to ignore a person dressed up, holding that resume out to you. After being turned away, laughed at, lost on streets I'd never been on before, and told no many times, I landed a great job in Rochester, in my field, earning $12 an hour. Frankly, it wasn't much more than I could have made at the coffee shop, but it was a writing job, and the job promised to give me something in addition to money, valuable experience. I commuted over 50 miles a day and lived at home. While I built that experience, I paid off my credit card debt, got control over my other bills, and began saving. Though I was working in public relations, I still wanted to write novels, and I worked on my creative writing in the evenings. After 2 years, I saved 3 months' salary, and then moved to New Jersey, where my fiancé was living and working. Though it felt very risky, I then depleted my savings entirely and spent 3 months writing my first novel full-time. I did not finish, but it was an amazing experience to write full-time like that, even if there was no paycheck. I then found another job in my new location, this time in advertising, which I thought I would like better than public relations. The experience I earned at my first job paid off, and I was able to get a higher paying position the second time. Why am I telling you this minutia, this play-by-play? It's because I'm not here to give you any advice that I did not take myself. Job changes, a career change, saving, planning, moving, fitting the person I love most and the thing I love most to do in my life. I did all of that within the first 3 years of joining the workforce. I did it by living deliberately. I did not wait for anything to come to me. I got off each time it became better to keep moving than to stand still. I was finding my direction even if it was frightening and I wasn't sure how it would turn out. Get off here. This can be particularly hard advice to follow. Everyone is most at ease when they are in their comfort zone. It really is easier to let things go than chase them. But I believe that is where regret lies. And make no mistake, you are not too young to regret. Regret is heavy, and it will catch up with you so much sooner than you think. If each of us is given our life as a block of wood to carve, the strokes and slashes and chippings that you make in the next few years will be deep and lasting. You will have to build on them somehow, whether they are positive or negative. Make them count. Get outside the comfort zone. Make a new comfort zone. Get off here and make no regrets. I'm going to take a drink for the baby. Finally, the last and most important thing you should know tonight about your future is simply, I'm going to get up here. I'm going to get up. As Mr. Scholes mentioned, I am now a published author, but until very, very recently, I was not. 9 months ago, I was a pre-published author, which is the industry's term for someone who thinks they can write, but has yet to find anyone who will buy what they wrote. My path to become what I always wanted to be was very hard and very frustrating. And while much of this speech I've spent trying to inspire you with success, I think it is just as important to be honest about failure. It is certainly true that my failures have shaped me the most, and so I'm going to share them with you. As I mentioned, upon joining the working world, I dedicated myself to fiction writing in the evenings and on weekends. Yes, I wanted to write books. But besides that 1 3-month exception, when I had savings and could afford to write full-time, I couldn't afford daily to write without holding another job. I wrote on the side, wherever and whenever I could. It took me almost 4 years to write that first novel that way. When I finally finished the manuscript for my book, The Sounding, I celebrated for about a week. And then I realized that the next part of a long task was in front of me. I still had editing to do, and then I needed to begin to figure out the world of publishing, which is very different from the world of writing. It took me another 2 years to edit the novel, and another year after that to get ready to find a publisher. Unfortunately, for new fiction authors, there is no such thing as write it and they will come. I needed a website, a book trailer, a query letter, and so many other tools just to begin the process of finding a publisher. In fact, the standard advice in publishing is to not look for a publisher. Don't even try. Instead, find an agent who will help you find a publisher. So I set out to find my agent. I created a list of over 120 of them, and I put them in 3 tiers. Those that I would be thrilled and lucky beyond belief to work with, those that were okay, and those that might be risky. How naive I was. I submitted to those first 20 or so agents, that top tier, and I received all rejections. Okay, that wasn't unexpected. They were my dream agents, so I moved on to the second tier of agents. This tier was a bit better. I received some responses, some requests to read the manuscript, and some great advice that helped me shape my book. But no one was willing to take me on. I was the risky one, an untested writer with no prior sales record, and so I received another 60 rejections. I began to question myself pretty heavily. Was I not good enough? Was this not the right book? Had I wasted all these years? You can ask my husband. He's sitting over there. It was not an easy time. He came home one day that I can can very distinctly remember and found me crying in front of our mailbox because I had 5 rejections in my hand in front of our neighbors. And any day could be ruined by yet another rejection letter, many of them unkind. It was about this time that I had a conversation with my brother, Carrie Salo. Cole is also a Red Creek graduate. He was in college at the time pursuing his own dreams. He asked me how the agent search was going. I was now well into 2 years of searching by this time, by the way. I told him I was thinking about giving up, resting, licking my wounds, maybe trying again 20 years from now, maybe not. Maybe this wasn't for me. He did not say much, but only repeated a quote he heard at school. Unfortunately, I have Googled and Googled, but I cannot find the actual person to credit with this quote. I'm going to give it to you anyway. And it is, the only difference between a winner and a loser is that the winner got up one more time. Cole told me he thought I should get up. His words really stayed with me. I wrote them on a Post-it note and kept them at my writing desk. They helped me get through the last tier of agents, the ones that I used to consider risky, and who now I would have been honored to work with, who all also rejected my novel. Over 3 years, I had received just over 120 rejections. Not a single agent thought they could sell my manuscript. So, what to do next? If you add it all up, I had spent 9 years working on the sounding. Was it smart or sane to spend any more when opinions seemed unanimous? After some hard consideration, I decided I was not quite done yet. I would approach publishers directly. It's considered an industry no-no, admittedly. Many publishers warn openly that without an agent, your manuscript goes into the trash. No one even opens the envelope. But I had already been rejected over 120 times over many years. What was a few more? I felt it was what I owed myself, to fail completely. And I encourage any of you to do this. It's about knowing yourself. I didn't want to give myself the excuse that the only reason my novel wasn't published was because a publisher had never actually seen it. No excuses. I was not enthusiastic about going through this process, but I got up. I put together a list of publishers that I liked, about 60 of them. Unlike previously, when I put them into tiers and I was very excited about who I was going to approach first, this time I put the list in alphabetical order. My plan was to methodically apply to each one and to receive those 60 rejections, which I definitely thought were coming to me. Then I thought I would try again, writing another novel that would hopefully be better. After all, the only difference between a winner and a loser is that the winner got up one more time. The first publisher on my list was a publisher named 23 House. I liked them very much. They focused on thrillers and were open to signing pre-published authors. But they had already received so many manuscripts that they were closed to submissions for the remainder of the year. They weren't taking anyone, agented or not. But I put my query letter together and approached them anyway. What were they going to say? No. But they didn't say no. 24 hours after receiving my letter, they agreed to look at my manuscript. And several months later, after 3 editors had reviewed my manuscript and unanimously agreed, they offered me a contract. We went through rounds of editing, picking a cover artist, discussing pricing, and everything else you think of when publishing a book. In November of 2011, The Sounding debuted in the top 1% of sales on Amazon.com. I scaled back my advertising career to a part-time position so that I could concentrate on book promotions, and I have been an author ever since. I hope the irony is not lost on you. 120 experienced professionals in the publishing industry, respected and accomplished agents, and by the way, the kind of person who might typically make excellent commencement speakers, all told me my novel could not be sold to a publisher. But I sold it myself, on the first try, to a publisher not even open to new submissions. If I had listened to all the no's, I would not be speaking in front of you today. It was pure determination, stubbornness, and the willpower to get up and keep going that helped me realize this dream. While I finally become a published author, I still have much that I want to accomplish. Like you, I am looking forward. The Sounding, though it has done well, is by no means a bestseller. There are 8 million books on Amazon and 1,500 new books published every day. So even being in the top 1% is nowhere near enough to make novel writing a full-time career. I need to be in the top 0.00001%, and that's not an exaggeration, to become an author whose books are in high demand and who has a national following. This is what I hope to build in my future. This is the reason I will continue to get up. Graduates of 2012, I hope you will get up. Not just today as you cross the stage, but tomorrow, next week, when someone tells you they are not hiring, or when they tell you getting your start here is just too hard, whenever you are not an automatic shoo-in, whenever you are the stretch, whenever the whole world tells you no, I hope you will answer it by getting up. You never know when this will be your one more time, when this last struggle to stand from wherever you have been pushed will be the time that finally makes you the winner. Congratulations on all that you have accomplished and all that I know you will accomplish. I look forward to hearing about all the wonderful things, large and small, that you are going to impact. It is my hope that some of my words will follow you as you journey tonight and tomorrow, next week. As someone on the same path, but with a small head start, perhaps I have given you a few words to put on your own Post-it note. You are prepared, and you are getting off here, and you are going to get up. As I said when I began, graduation speeches are not the end-all, be-all. As an author, it is my pleasure to tell you that the end-all is something you will have to write yourself. And I cannot wait to take a look back with you when we get there. Thank you.